More information on the big ratings for AEW Collision Playoff Palooza last Saturday, with a major quarter-hour rating spiking the viewership and key demo number. We have the viewership information for the post-WrestleMania 41 edition of WWE Raw on Netflix. Could WrestleMania still be headed to London in the UK in the future? Dakota Kai says she misses wrestling and clarifies she is not hurt. An update on when SmackDown is expected to change times, going from 3 hours to 2. Seth Rollins had a very expensive coat on Raw on Monday. TNA Wrestling announces a new international TV deal. Carmela and Corey Graves announced they are expecting their second child together. And several matches and segments have been confirmed for this week's edition of TNA Impact Live. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with an update when it comes to the ratings for this past Saturday's AEW Collision. Of course, that being the special Playoff Palooza edition of the show, drawing big numbers for All Elite Wrestling. But before we do, you can see right there we're at 21,383 subscribers. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Join the ever-expanding WNU, that being the Wrestling News universe. In addition, make sure you join the WN365 roster. Links in the video description below. You can also scan the QR code when it appears on the sidebar. Right. We brought you yesterday the numbers for AEW Collision this past Saturday. And over the past several months, AEW Collision has benefited by a stronger push from Warner Brothers Discovery to have the show follow major sporting events. Now, that included a December 21st episode that followed a college football bowl game, AEW Grand Slam Australia, which was preceded by NBA All-Star Saturday, and 2 editions of Slam Dunk Saturday in March, which followed the NCAA men's basketball tournament. All 4 episodes drew higher viewership than normal for Collision, and that trend continued and then some when Collision followed the NBA playoffs this past Saturday. Now, as we brought you yesterday, WrestleNomics reported that Collision drew 707,000 total viewers and a 0.21 in the coveted 18 to 49 demographic. Now, to the surprise of no one, those numbers were way up from the previous week, with total viewership rising 100% from 355,000 viewers, while the 18 to 49 was an even bigger increase of 162% from a 0.08. Now, perhaps best of all, the numbers represent the highest viewership Collision has drawn since July 29, 2023, and it's the highest rating in Collision history, trailing only the July 29th show and Collision's premiere in June of 2023. Now, while the NBA game would have helped Collision regardless, the exciting conclusion of Game 4 of the LA Clippers versus Denver Nuggets series likely gave it a boost. You can see this when it comes to the quarter-hour ratings, which we didn't have at the time of recording yesterday. You can see it right there. Now, obviously, as I mentioned, this big conclusion to Game 4 of the Los Angeles Clippers versus Denver Nuggets series gave, obviously, the show a big boost, with the Clippers rallying to tie the game, only to lose thanks to a buzzer-beating dunk by Aaron Gordon. Now, Collision wound up ranking 4th on the evening in terms of the key demo, and even managed to hang with sporting events it usually loses to. This included UFC Fight Night on ESPN2, which drew 599,000 total viewers and a 0.24 in the 18 to 49, and the NHL Playoffs on TBS, which drew 787,000 and a 0.22. You can see right there, certainly the big spike was in from that lead-in. As you can see right there, the first quarter hour for AEW Collision drawing 1.67 million viewers and over 800,000 in the key 18 to 49 demographic, way above what Collision has been doing usually. Now again, after that, into the sort of second quarter hour, it was straight back to what we would usually see, but still dropping down to 847,000 viewers, which again is very surprising and not common for All Elite Wrestling at all when it comes to their usual numbers for Collision. So let me know your thoughts about that, your reaction to it in the comment section below. Now, speaking of viewership information, let's talk about the Raw after WrestleMania. Now, WrestleMania 41 has been heralded by WWE as the most successful event the company has ever produced, breaking records in various areas and generating more money over a single weekend than some companies will generate in an entire year. The final port of call over Easter weekend was the April 21st episode of Raw, which saw the return of Rusev, an impromptu match between Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquer, and Bron Breakker aligning himself with Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins, to name just a few of the memorable moments. Given everything that happened at WrestleMania 41, fans were eager to tune into Netflix on Monday night to see what WWE had up their sleeves, and according to WrestleNomics, it was a lot more people than usual. The April 21st episode of Raw averaged a total of 3.6 million global viewers throughout the week, a big jump from the 2.9 million viewers the April 14 episode averaged. It was also the first time in a month that Raw was able to break the 3 million mark in that field and was the third highest average global viewership number Raw has received since moving to Netflix at the start of the year. The show amassed a total of 8.7 million hours viewed across the week, a figure that can only be topped in that field by the January 6th episode that almost topped 18 million hours, which was enough for Raw to reach third in the Netflix weekly rankings within the United States, the second week in a row. As for the global weekly rankings, Raw broke into the top 5 for the first time since March 24, placing 5th for the week, the second highest ranking the show has earned on the streaming service, with a peak so far being 4th. So certainly positive numbers there for Raw post-WrestleMania. And many people over here in the UK are still asking the question, one day will we see WrestleMania in the capital of England? London Mayor Sadiq Khan remains committed to bringing WWE WrestleMania to London, England. Within a report about top sporting events taking place in London in 2024, it was stated, quote, building on London's success, the mayor has talked up his ambition to bring more of the biggest sporting events in the world to London. Sadiq has expressed his support for a bid for the Olympics and Paralympics to return to London in 2040, while he remains committed to making London WrestleMania's first international destination. Now, WrestleMania has only ever taken place in North America since the first WrestleMania in 1985. Major pro wrestling events that take place in London, though, include WWE SummerSlam 1992 and AEW All In London 2023 and 2024. Sadiq Khan pledged to set up a task force to explore bringing WrestleMania to London as part of his re-election campaign. Khan then met with WWE CCO Triple H and WWE President Nick Khan in July 2024 to discuss the prospect of WrestleMania in London. WrestleMania wouldn't be able to take place in London until 2027 at the earliest, due to 2026 WrestleMania 42 having already been announced for New Orleans. Now, Dakota Kai, she has explained she's not hurt and she misses wrestling. Dakota Kai hasn't wrestled on television since the March 17th episode of Raw when she defeated Ivy Now. Kai was in Las Vegas and doing media for WrestleMania weekend, but didn't appear on either show. On social media, Dakota Kai said she misses wrestling and the fans before stating that she is not hurt. She said, quote, I miss wrestling and I miss you guys. She then said, not hurt, by the way. It's unknown when Kai will return to WWE television. She did compete on the March 27th episode of WWE Main Event. Now, an update here when it comes to SmackDown and possible changes to the Blue brand. This past January, SmackDown moved to a 3-hour format for the first time in history after being acquired by the USA Network. Due to Raw moving to Netflix at the start of the year, USA lost one of its top cable shows on the network, which left a massive gap in their programming on Monday nights. Therefore, with SmackDown leaving Fox, USA decided to apply the 3-hour format to the Blue brand, but the WWE Universe has had mixed feelings towards the schedule change. While some fans enjoy additional wrestling to start the weekend, others feel much of SmackDown has consisted of filler content, with the quality of the show declining since last year. However, in a recent edition of Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer shared some good news for those craving the 2-hour format to come back, with June 6th being a possible return date. Quote, it's going to be right around that time, yes. I was told months ago that it's essentially the end of May when it's going to happen, so it's going to be one of those weeks right around then. Yeah, we got a little over a month. 2 hours is definitely better than 3 for SmackDown. Meltzer also noted that Friday's episode of SmackDown pulled in 1.599 million viewers, which is the 5th highest rating the show has drawn since moving to the USA Network. The previous Friday, which was the SmackDown before WrestleMania 41, managed to accumulate 1.741 million viewers and was the most watched episode this year. Now, Seth Rollins, of course, he appeared on Raw on Monday and he was wearing a very expensive jacket to the ring. The peacock coat worn by Seth Rollins had a big price tag. Pakistani label Rasta lists the coat for $13,500 on its website. Rollins wore the coat in the opening segment and closing segment of Raw, delivering a stomp to Sami Zayn in the final minute. Certainly a pricey attire for the former World Heavyweight Champion. Now, a big update here when it comes to an international TV deal for TNA Wrestling. TNA Wrestling has found a new television home across much of Latin America, as reported by Sports Video Group today. TNA parent company Anthem Sports and Entertainment has signed a deal with Claro Sports to air its programming in 17 different countries, including Mexico, Colombia, and Argentina. The deal is non-exclusive, meaning Claro can sign agreements with other promotions, or TNA could seek additional deals for content not included in this contract. When the agreement goes into effect, it will reportedly include TNA Impact as well as the promotion's pay-per-views and streaming specials. The content will be spread across Claro's various platforms, including its free ad-supported channel, its paid TV network and on YouTube. With the new agreement, TNA continues its pace of steady growth it's set over the last several years. There has been a massive shake-up behind the scenes, with prominent figures such as Scott D'Amore and Gail Kim being let go at different points. However, a working agreement with WWE, along with its own talented roster, have led to a period of expansion for TNA. At the start of the year, TNA began airing on Sportsnet in Canada, giving the promotion a large platform in the country. While it hasn't happened yet, some within TNA are hoping the company can expand its TV presence in the United States as well. For now, the flagship show Impact can be seen on Access TV, which is primarily owned by Anthem. The promotion also has its own streaming service called TNA Plus, which shows Impact as well as TNA's streaming specials. Now, some good news when it comes to Carmela and Corey Graves. Carmela is pregnant once again. Carmela took to social media to reveal she is pregnant with her second child with WWE announcer Corey Graves. Quote, "All in perfect time. Our new chapter begins this fall." She captioned the video and photos. Carmela and Graves welcomed their first child in November of 2023. Of course, we wish Carmela, Graves, and their family happiness and health when it comes to the birth of their second child. And finally, matches have been confirmed for tomorrow's edition of TNA Impact Live. Joe Hendry and the Hardys will reunite on Thursday. TNA Wrestling announced that TNA World Champion Joe Hendry will team with Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy against Frankie Kazarian and new TNA Tag Team Champions Nick Nemeth and Ryan Nemeth. Plus, Leon Slater will take on Casey Navarro. Of course, the May 1st episode of TNA Impact is a live episode airing at 10 p.m. Eastern. Of course, there are a couple more live episodes set to air later on this year. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner, as you can see right there, we're currently at 21,383 subscribers. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Join the ever-expanding WNU. The goal is to hit 25K this year. Previously, the goal was to hit 20K. We absolutely smashed that in early April. Now we're on the road to 25K. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. See if we can get that number close to 25. In addition, you can see in the sidebar right there, you can join the WN365 roster. Links in the video description. You can also scan the QR code when it appears on screen. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. And whilst you're checking out the sidebar, you can see all upcoming watch-alongs and post-shows we've got for the month of May, that being WWE Backlash on May 10th, and also later on in the month, AEW Double or Nothing. Appreciate everyone for tuning in, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.